We've been here in Santa Barbara having a conference with our clients and our vendors, and had a spectacular couple of days of learning about technology, having peer interactions with CIOs and other CIOs of companies and the vendors in very intimate forums. And really the three themes that I saw and have talked about in the past have been focused on a couple of really critical elements in our industries right now. The first one is what I would call IT consolidation. So we are in a time of great economic change, and that is driving vendor consolidation at a scale and a pace that we have never before seen at any period of time, even during the dot-com bust that happened in 2002. Vendors, the largest vendors, are buying large companies, and consolidation in that space is happening. And it becomes extremely critical and important that clients evaluate those vendors and evaluate those acquisitions and understand what that means to the business. They may not choose to make changes. They may choose to make dramatic changes. But to have an awareness of what's going on in the IT industry is so critical for certainly our industry, our business, as being a systems integration organization, but also as a client to understand the impacts, potential impacts to the business, positive or negative as the case might be. The second major theme that I saw is, of course, cloud computing. Everybody is talking about cloud computing. Everybody is wondering, what is this thing called cloud computing? What are we doing with it? What should our response be? I have the same response that I do to the IT vendor consolidation theme, which is evaluate it, understand it. It may not be that everything, you do anything with it. It may be that a client chooses to keep things in-house as opposed to move off to a public cloud, or in-house can be its own cloud, right? It's a definition more than anything. It's a set of operational challenges and operational technologies that clients can implement that don't have to be out in the public sector, out on the great big internet. But there may be segments or elements of the business that are very appropriate. Every customer has a website. Well, I mean, that in essence is existing in the cloud, right? That decision was an easy one. The harder one is, can I take some of my business operations and move it into that space? And is there an economic benefit to doing that? Is there a better economic benefit to keeping that function in-house? Are there regulatory issues? Are there social issues? Are there political issues? Can I move more rapidly internally than perhaps having an external organization move for me? It all depends on the organization, the size of the organization, and of course the application. And again, to reemphasize, this concept, this notion of a cloud really is not necessarily, is it the public cloud or do I keep it in-house? But it's a set of technologies that can exist in both a internal environment and an external environment as well. So there's a lot of dialogue going on around that. We're, I think, in the early adoption stage right now of this cloud concept. Technology is driving that. Commoditization of the technology is happening. Virtualization has enabled that kind of economy of scale to really allow clients and vendors to offer these services cost competitively to internal processes. It's also allowed clients internally to find dramatic efficiencies in their operations, both from a manpower perspective and from a technology perspective and from a flexibility perspective. And all of those things, in my opinion, really drive to the bottom line. If a client can react to a business opportunity quickly, then it helps their bottom line. It increases sales, increases profit opportunities. It reduces lost opportunities because of the old notion that perhaps, well, in order to do that, I have to have this architecture already in place, and that's going to take me 6 months, and by that time, the opportunity is gone. With these new technologies that are out there, we're seeing the kind of flexibility and resiliency and agility that we've never seen before in our industry. And that's been a long time coming. So that's this kind of the second major theme is this notion of the cloud, right? And it's not something to be afraid of, it's something to understand, it's something to embrace and make appropriate decisions about how to integrate that into your organizational strategy and into your business strategy and into your IT strategy. All three of them must go together. The third major theme that we heard today and yesterday really focused on this concept of social networking. Interestingly enough, that was an unexpected theme that was dramatically popular at this forum that we hosted. And of course, we should have known that going in, but it is on the top of mind of what we've learned of all the CIOs who are here is, what do we do about this concept of social networking? Every organization knows what it is. Everybody has a Facebook or has a MySpace or LinkedIn account or whatever that might be. Almost all of them do. The question is, well, now what? Can we leverage this from a marketing perspective? Can we leverage this from a business or a sales perspective? Are there opportunities for us? Can we control it? And I think we saw the answer to that is definitively not. Unless you shut off all access to it, IT organizations at all of the clients out there are not going to be able to shape the destiny of what Facebook does in their social networking world, right? Or even just plain email, right? Email is a form of social networking that was relatively unheard of 10, 12 years ago. We had fax machines, right? And it's so important for IT to be involved with marketing and sales to help support and understand what the impact or the goals of those social networks in the context of business are, not to stifle it unless there's some regulatory concern associated with it, but to, again, adapt to it, to embrace it, to understand it. It could be that social networking has no value to a particular business. If you're in a certain industry that prevents it, and I don't know what that might be. Maybe it's a hospital, might not have that requirement. You can't put patient data on Facebook, but there's plenty of industries where it can be leveraged very successfully to help businesses not necessarily profit, but at least brand and get words out and collect followers. In the retail space, that's a phenomenon that is, of course, tremendously important. Twitter, another example of that, right? So these technologies that are out there, and we're just at the beginning of that, right? These technologies are going to evolve. They're going to become more pervasive. They're going to become more robust. They're going to become more valuable. They're going to become much more than they are today. Facebook's plans are long-term. They're not a one-year business model, right? And kind of capping all of that, and it's a great segue, is this theme of innovation. And I talk about, I use Facebook a lot actually, because it's a great case study in my opinion. They've gone from 1 to several hundred million users in just a short span of 3, 4, 5 years. And that's a disruptive, innovative technology that is has enormous social benefits to the world and to the people who live in it when properly applied and properly used. Certainly has the propensity for being abused, right? But this notion is a very innovative idea, right? Hey, you know, I want to post and I want to have photographs and I want to share them and I want to tag them and I want, these things didn't just spring out of thin air. Somebody sat down and they thought about it and said, I have a great idea. And that can be true, not just in the IT industry, in the Facebook organization, but I have seen, let me phrase that better, I have not seen an industry, and I have not visited a client yet who has no need for IT or innovation. IT, information technology systems are absolutely pervasive. In every industry, there's a famous study about a large manufacturing company. There's a quote, it's not a study, and it said, the quote was, the question and answer was this, very short. It said, how long will your manufacturing line continue to operate if a system goes down? It's a manufacturing company, you know. And the answer was about 60 seconds. And then we would stop producing our main product. And that to me really drove it home about how pervasive IT has become in every single industry across the planet. And small, large, from a surfboard maker to General Motors or Ford, or pick the automotive company of choice or large enterprise of choice, there's not one in which IT and innovation and technologies aren't combining to create business opportunities, to create profit and revenue for that organization, and hopefully to provide great benefit to our society and our world and our culture as a whole.